A 19-year-old grade 12 pupil is fighting for her life in hospital after she was brutally assaulted by a mob of boys from her school in Umlazi in Durban. The pupil was allegedly attacked by a mob of boys who accused her of stealing a cell phone. Now let's discuss this. We are now joined via Zoom by the director of the Forum for the Empowerment of Women, Fundi Ndaba. Fundi, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Now, just looking at this recent case in KZN and the brutal murder of Tankiso Dawanyana from Kimberley in the Northern Cape just recently, one would be forgiven, of thinking that there's simply no respect when it comes to the rights of the LGBTQ plus community.
We condemn the beating of this young lesbian woman. We condemn beating in general. That experience, I would imagine, is adding to the numbers of the GBV directed towards the LGBTI community, but most so to a child. And the statistic recently confirms that there's an increase in children committing suicide as a result of their identity. So my heart goes out to the family for the murder that had happened. For the abuse or the assault that has happened. And the thought that she could be lying in a hospital missing out on writing the final exam speaks to the reality of most of the LGBTI community who are not able to finish their school and lead a life where they're discriminated completely. Totally disappointed by that. I'm also view that as per the conversation currently, there's an opportunity that the government, the police intervene, not just the police, but also the criminal justice system ensures that the crime committed by this killed in assaulting a young lesbian woman is meted accordingly by the justice.
Now, Fundi, when we look at just the violence that was leveled, against this particular grade 12 pupil, and again, the case, the horrible murder of a young woman in Kimberley, what is behind it? And when you look at the perpetrators of these cases, these are young boys themselves who are still of school-going age.
So it would seem the South African government has not consciously engaged on inclusivity approach. That would mean all humans and all kids at school need to be educated about the LGBTI and the inclusion and against the discrimination. That's a start. Because that has not happened, these kids see it fit not just to direct their anger, their hate, or their homophobia towards other persons, which would be the LGBT, and it's allowed. And it would seem also that it trickles from teachers not being able to educate those individuals, but also not a system that punishes such behaviors should they be qualifies for that.
Fundi, let's just go back to this young girl. I know you don't know her personally, but in an incident like this, where she was very brave, to live as a proud lesbian young girl, what does this incident do, in her bravery and in her fight to stand up for who she is when she does recover finally?
I foresee a young girl whose identity, quality of life could have been changed as a result of this experience. And how I see it unfolding would be, she could be as traumatized that she won't be able to walk the streets freely. Because the torment won't just be the school boys now that we've spoken about it, the bigger community or the bigger structured society, other kids at school will talk about it. And the more they talk about it, the more it impacts their quality of life. And in her bravery, she is one of the few that is able to stand within her identity and be able to share who she is as a lesbian. But I imagine that she'll be living to look behind her back, which is what's common in our community. We are not safe. There's no safety in quality of life that we live and how we welcome and interact with other people out there.
Fundi, thank you so much. I really do appreciate your time. Fundi Ndaba is from the empowerment of the Forum for the Empowerment of Women. Thank you so much for the time. Of course, we're talking about a 19-year-old grade 12 pupil who is fighting for her life in hospital after she was brutally assaulted by a mob of boys in KwaZulu-Natal.